Thank you for joining us for this episode of Take Notice, Amplifying Black Stories. I am your host, Allison Preisinger-Heggins. Take Notice, Amplifying Black Stories is a podcast exploring society, culture, and current events through conversation. We aspire to create an open, respectful, and equitable space where guests may feel free to share their truth and lived experiences. Our core values are rooted in community, connection, and personal development. Stories help us learn, relate, and grow. We are here to listen, to take notice. Thank you for being with us. I would like to show gratitude to the traditional ancestral land of the Puyallup people past and present on which this episode was created. I encourage listeners to research the land on which you live and are listening right now. Recognizing this is just the beginning. The more you explore, challenge, and learn, the more questions may arise, but this is how we grow and connect. On this episode of Take Notice, we welcome Nicholas.Gully. Nicholas and I had such a fun time connecting on his process for photography, his experience going to college and community college, an opportunity that he had to be featured in Vogue, and his artistic process over a variety of different mediums. So music, photography, painting. He has such an artistic energy that you'll definitely be able to hear in this conversation. He's inspired and inspiring. Nicholas.Gully is an emerging self-taught artist out of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. He has exhibited photographic works in several galleries, has been commissioned by numerous musical artists for a variety of projects, and has had his work shown internationally. Beyond photography, he serves as a muse and inspiration for his peers and explores art in a variety of other mediums, which you will get to hear about in this conversation coming up. So please enjoy this episode with Nicholas.Gully. Well, Nicholas, thank you so much for joining me on Take Notice. I appreciate you spending the time with me today, and you're joining me from Dallas-Fort Worth. Is that right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talking to you today.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm glad you reached out and you're available and we sorted this out. This is awesome. I'm so excited to hear what you have to share today. Did you grow up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or how long have you been in that area?
Partially. I lived here for about 8 years or so now.
Okay.
But originally I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and I moved to Texas in 2009. And since then I've kind of been, in the South, exploring and living.
Oh, wow. What made you move down?
Opportunity. For what was available there wasn't really a lot of room for kind of the growth that I needed at the time. So this is the best spot for me at that time.
Yeah. Would you say opportunity for photography and art, or what kind of opportunities brought you down?
Absolutely. Opportunities for art as well as university life. A lot of interesting, strange, but very needed opportunities down here that I was blessed to receive.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited to hear more about that. But before we get to that, I would love to hear about who you were surrounded by in Chicago. You said Chicago, right? Am I?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And who you were surrounded by when you were growing up in Chicago, and what area of Chicago you grew up in. I don't know much about Chicago other than what I've seen on TV, which I'm sure is, a very skewed version of what the city could be. So,
yeah. In Chicago, I spent a lot of my time by myself, actually. But when I was surrounded by people, I was definitely in the space of my brother, my older sister, really just kind of taking life lessons from their day-to-day activities, because, I knew the time that we spent wouldn't be too long, because I'd either, be asked to leave because I'm being annoying or hovering, cramping the style or something. So I usually just kind of found something else to do in my own world.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I think I spent a lot of time on my own too. Would you call yourself an introvert?
No, shockingly, it turned me extroverted.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It gave me a lot of opportunity to release when I was around people, when I was actually around, company. So all the things I kind of thought of to myself, I was just like, oh, this is an opportunity to talk about something.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, my guess was inaccurate. I like it. Did your siblings do as you were surrounded by them? How much older were they?
My older brother's 9 years older than me, and my sister is, I believe, three. I believe she's 3 years older.
Oh,
So
okay.
we weren't too far apart.
Yeah.
But most of it was video games, really. We were big gamers, so it was either me being player two or me just kind of watching, if there wasn't an option for that. But that was primarily most of our time spent together, which was definitely the best form of bonding I could have ever asked for. I had so many great memories of them and me just playing things and just losing and winning, finally winning. You know, when you beat your older sibling, it's like there's nothing else better than that.
No kidding. Yeah, I have a couple games that I can beat my older brother on, but that's it. They're very, very niche games,
Right.
the old or Super Nintendo basketball game or something.
Yeah.
Super random. What were your favorite games to play with your siblings?
Man, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. That's from the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Gears of War on the Xbox.
Okay.
It's more of a team kind of thing, but they do have some modes where you can kind of verse yourself. And like I said, when at the end of the match and the score gets tallied up, and I'm like, I'm the oldest now. Like, I'm the big dog. I'm the big dog.
It happened. That's awesome. Are they still in the Chicago area, or have they gone elsewhere in the States, or?
That's a great question. My brother just bought himself a new residence, so I'm not sure. And it's been a little moment since I heard from my sister, but I have to check on them. But they're doing well.
What about growing up? What area of Chicago were you in growing up?
I was in Matson, Illinois, and it's a really good district for like younger children. But that's shortly after that is when I moved to Texas. So right as I was entering my teens, I had a huge transition down here, so I didn't get to really experience too much of it as my brain was kind of forming. But most of what I do remember has been very safe, very warm, and comforting space for me.
That's nice. That's a really nice to have those good memories of gaming in a safe, comfortable space.
Absolutely.
Up in Chicago. So did you went to high school in Texas then? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
That was interesting because the year I began, the freshman year, my sister was a senior. So everything, right when that door closed on her, I was the next person up. So high school was interesting, but I think I am totally grateful for attending high school in Texas, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you say that? In what ways?
I would say mainly athletics, because that's where I made most of my friends. It's a huge competitive state, and I didn't know that when I came down here. Like collegiately, they're all affiliated with Big 12 and Division I sports. And I just learned recently that in 2019, universities are paying nearly $3 billion in revenue. Like they were making so much money off of college sports. So when I came to Texas and I was kind of meeting athletes and I was meeting people that were going to go professional, and I'm like, what? I'm 11. I'm like 12. Like what?
Wild. Yeah, it's like a hub for the major sports, right?
Absolutely. So being in high school and kind of having coaches that have already been to that big stage, it provided me with so much influence and a lot of friendships, a lot of very, very long lasting friendships.
That's amazing. What sports were your main sports?
Basketball. And I was actually the water guy. I was the water guy, believe it or not.
Oh yeah? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And I had a good time. You know, they was like, hey,
that's awesome.
Get us some Gatorade. And I'd be like, water guys, come on. Let's not get crazy. You still gotta work out.
Right? Electrolytes are overrated.
Right? Like, who needs flavor? Come on.
Totally.
Hit the sprint.
Ice water for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. So you were around the basketball team, supporting them through was that your official title? What is the
They
official
call me
title for that?
manager, but
Okay. Yeah.
that's what I did. And we all know I was the guy.
Right. That's awesome. So did you end up going to, I think I saw this, but after high school,
Mhm.
what did you transition to after that?
I took a year off to work in a factory.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Okay.
I decided I was a little skeptical about going to college, even though I was an avid, which was a college preparation course in high school. I
Okay.
was I was a little bummed because I didn't get any university offers. So at the time, it was kind of like, yeah, your GPA, you should probably get a good job. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do
Yeah.
that. So I took a
Mm-hmm.
year off, and then that's when I had the bright idea. Oh, I need to go to community college. Like maybe university isn't something attainable currently, but I can still earn the college experience at in a different space. So then
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned into community college, and that's where I began to focus the life changing and best decision of my life, majoring in art.
Mm. Awesome. That was the shift when you decided to do community college. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Was it a certain class or a certain instructor, or what kind of introduced you to? Was it photography first, or was it some other art form?
Photography was definitely something I was using throughout that course, but it was definitely the my peers in art courses that
Mm.
really ignited the flame that was already there. Because you can have somebody next to you that's way more skilled than you, but they don't think the way you do. So it's like it's not always about how well it can get done, but it's also a grade. So it's kind of like it's like show and tell all over again.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, in a totally different stakes, different form. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I
Absolutely.
went to music school, so I get it. I totally get
Yes,
it.
yeah, you already know the critiques. Oh, I will definitely
Oh
say the
man.
critiques are imperative to me being the professional I am today because
Mm.
although people might love your work or they might like your work, you still need people to like tell you the truth, Like this is great, but it's like you can do better. And I'm like, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. I'm not gonna pass, but you're right.
Right, right. And tell me how. What do you think? Some more details of
Exactly.
constructive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of collaborative in that way. Because if you're just stuck
Absolutely.
in your own brain working on a thing, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of get in this same loop. And if you get
Mm-hmm.
people's input inserted in constructive ways, yeah, I agree. It's monumental. Very, very helpful.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
And being around people from different backgrounds, because in high school, it's pretty much the same minorities or races kind of, make friendships, and that's great. But in college, you could be sitting next to a guy that's in his 50s. You could be sitting next to someone fresh out of high school.
Hmm.
There's so much more, and they're all studying art. So it's like you have minds that are capable of thinking about concepts far beyond your age while
Mm.
also understanding that I'm an individual here and I deserve to be in the same space. And just spending weeks practicing different things and projects, it was everything.
Mm.
I loved college.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, isn't that cool? I think community college and some private schools as well, but community college especially has the range of people from different backgrounds and people re-upping on their education or just
Hmm.
fresh from high school, like you said. So it's
Hmm.
yeah, you learn from sometimes even more from who's sitting next to you than who's in front of the class, which is amazing.
Truly, truly, truly. I've had my fair
Yeah.
share of professors. I've had my fair share of professors that were like, "I'm gonna go make some copies," and they don't show up until the end of class.
Right? Like, okay.
Right. All right. This is my tuition. Great.
I know. Oh my goodness, that's the whole thing. What were some of your favorite courses that you took in community college?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking
Mm.
that. My favorite course had to be psychology.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Psychology was the number one. Composition I really enjoyed. And I would say the third favorite would probably be geology. Even though I'm not too much into Earth's structures, something about that course it was a good time. It was a great experience.
That's awesome. In geology, you're studying, what do you study in geology? I think I know, but
Rocks.
Can you explain it? Yeah, basically rocks and minerals and, okay. Did you get to go like out on excursions for that in your area or not so much?
Thankfully, it was a summer school course, so we weren't necessarily needed to like travel and things like that. All the materials were kind of brought in the room for us to like use. That was a lot better because it can get hot down here. Right now, I think it's 108 right now. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, like, no joke. So
wow.
like, I'm so glad I took that 30-day course because if I would have took that, full 16 weeks, it would have been exactly.
Oof, that's a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, I thought it got hot up here, but no, not to 108. That's that's wild. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oof. In composition, it was a composition class. Is that an art class? Is that right?
That's the college level English class.
Oh. Okay. So like writing competition or composition. Okay.
Yes.
Very
and
cool.
That was amazing because I took that in like the mini semester. So it was like 14 days of just nonstop English, literature, punctuation, a bunch of grammar, like all those things. And I love, language tremendously. And then on being, in that space with so many backgrounds of people, everybody's interpreting the text differently and we can have a conversation about it. And I was just like absorbing so much out of that. And then it also helped with my vocabulary as well, listening to authors and having to write about myself, which is something I don't do too much. And I think I should probably start, but it was beautiful. That was a great course.
That's awesome. And it was truncated to just 14 days?
Yep. 14 days of just
amazing.
nonstop classwork and got my A and went on about my day.
That's awesome. I like it. So what did you decide to transition to after community college? Did you end up getting your AA and all that or
Yep.
What'd you do?
After I earned my AA in the middle of the pandemic, they actually mailed it to me. And that was really because we weren't allowed, the whole 6 feet thing, we weren't allowed to have a graduation. So they just kind of PDF'd it to me, which I kind of preferred anyway. And then just realizing that I have a degree, like it took everything it gave me so much newness mentally because like, this is something I earned. I spent a lot of my time in this institution and this is what I've earned. And it was amazing. And that's when I was like, you know what? I really want to take my education further. And then I tried to enroll in university life at University of North Texas, which is a pretty great, like top-notch art school down here in Texas. And that was a great experience. And I took a photography course there as well. Yes, after I got my degree, I decided I wanted to take it further.
And you ended up going to University of North Texas, or?
Yes, yeah. I got enrolled the same year, 2020, and it was kind of difficult for me just because I was so used to the environment where you're able to integrate yourself with the staff and the students. So the whole 6 feet thing and the hybrid courses, it really knocked me off my A end because, I just came from, 2 or 3 years of having community within the classroom to now it's so virtual and disconnected and office hours change because they have to sanitize everything and you only have a certain amount of window to work on projects because you can't have too many students in one area. Like it really kind of collapsed. But then I began to do photography outside of the course and that's when that's when the engines fired off.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's a tough time to transition, I imagine, to a new space, a new experience. And then, with everything being so different anyway, on top of that. Yeah. Wow. But at least it spurred you on to your photography. You mentioned towards the beginning of our conversation some strange experiences and opportunities that you've had since you've been in Texas and doing this thing. What's one of those strange experiences, if you can explain?
I'll say in my profession of photography, you never really can prepare until you get there. You can kind of get yourself in the zone to shoot or kind of have an idea of what it's going to be. But sometimes you show up and people have really strange requests. It's like, we schedule things, we talk about things, we plan things, and then somehow the person you're shooting ends up not wearing anything like they agreed they would. And it's like, yeah, okay, all right. Or I got asked to are you available for a shoot? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I get there and there's like way more people there expecting to be shot, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? I thought we were just doing this person, and then it turns into like an umbrella shoot where everybody involves a part of the shoot, and I don't have a problem with it because at the time I was practicing, so it was
right.
It was great workout, but it's tricky because I really care about this. So if things aren't necessarily, if we're not shooting, I'm having issues, because I'm here to do this, I'm here with my time and my talent and my love for my craft to perform, essentially, to service. And when I'm not able to do that, it can get really, really foreign, I'm like, I didn't, you don't leave your house to, mingle. I came to, get to work, to clock in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. People have interesting expectations of those who are freelancers or artists or
absolutely.
Yeah, it can get a little funny.
You know it. It's like, all right, respect the craft, okay? I respect the craft, please.
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes a little moment to educate and be like, so here's how this works on my end.
Exactly.
So let's meet in the middle a little bit.
Exactly. Literally. So as those weird experiences and strange encounters definitely strengthened my ability to, one, maintain integrity, because people will try you,
Yep.
when you're freelancing and, you don't have contracts or you don't have an LLC or a certain amount of things that people find reputable, they think less of you. They treat you like an amateur. And even if you are, you still deserve the respect of a professional. And, going through those things, it taught me they're not mad at me or upset with me or frustrated. They're just unfamiliar. They're just uneducated. They're just ignorant in a sense of they haven't had this opportunity to be educated about what they should.
Yeah.
So I have to take a step back, like you said, and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what's the plan. You cool with that? If you need some more, we can book another time. But this is this is how the wheels are going to turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's all a learning curve. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. To date, what has been one of the more inspiring forms of photography that you've enjoyed?
I love your questions. Thank you. Thank you. I will say the most inspiring would be textural photographs. I've noticed that my world has been viewed from such a large scope because I'm always influenced by, not the next thing, but I'm influenced by things that are new, that are a little obscure, but also hiding in plain sight. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting really close on my subjects, getting really close up on whatever it is I'm viewing and capturing that. And it'll be something everybody can see. It's just nobody pays attention to. And lately those photos have been coming out so wonderful. It's made me appreciate the things that are smaller or the things that are there, but just not interacted with in a close, intimate level. Because a lot of photography that I've done has been kind of portraiture or landscape or, all types of things, but they're pretty much, there's a distance between me and the subject. And now I feel like there's a relationship that can form between the viewer and the photo because they're able to view it as closely as I am to this photo.
I like that. What's one of the most recent projects can you describe one of your most recent projects?
My most recent project was for a photo shoot for a magazine, DCEO magazine. And I was shooting an ad for a production company.
Okay.
Yeah. And we had a studio available for us. And it was a really fun time. it was one of those sessions where there was nobody else but me and the muse, and I love that because we can really let loose. We don't have to worry about a production crew or people running behind. It's just we got time, and then there's always that extra time after the shoot where you can start capturing like bloopers and behind the scenes and all that stuff. So that was my last. I think that was my last thing I did, but that was amazing.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds
Absolutely.
like the element to
literally,
be in.
literally, it's not often that, I'm granted that opportunity to be in the zone like that. So whenever I am, I feel like I'm right back in college where I'm just like, this is my peer, this is my area, I'm in my zone, let's go to work.
That's great. When you're focusing on like your textured photography that you're describing, do you have set days of the week or set times that you try to go take photos, or is it more inspiration inspired or a mix of the two or something else?
I'll say it's a mixture of that, including impulse, because there will be times when I'm on the way home and something's like, hey, pull over, go behind that trash can. That looks interesting. And I go and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't go home today. And now, we're working. There's also a little bit of familiarity that kicks in as well. Like if I know the area or if I'm familiar with it, I'm able to kind of focus with my eyes, put focus on what I'm able to see that's not out in the open. Like if I know where like a establishment is, I know, okay, the wall is going to look like that, but what's behind that wall? Like what's behind this corner? What's down that street? And that's where it can kind of get inspiring because I'm not familiar too much. I don't know everything about where everything is, but that also just kind of helps filter out what needs to be focused on. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you're exploring spaces that are familiar to you, trying to find the less beaten path or the less
absolutely
focused on items or images or things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I'm in a space where I'm not familiar and everything's new, then it just becomes like a field day. I'm just like a little happy I'm just frolicking around, just looking at everything, shooting everything, and, getting really close on my environments, which, it doesn't take too long for me to become familiar at that point because, I'm so engaged and hyper focused. And it's just a little bit of impulse, a little bit of inspiration, and a little bit of just right time, right place.
Would you say that texture wise, is it more like you're saying you're finding things that are or drawn to things that are less noticed? So I guess what are some examples of that? Because I know that I have one photographer, a photographer in my family that is very into just taking photos of birds, like different types of birds, mainly crows, and has some amazing photos of crows. And so what are some of the specific things that you're more drawn to when you're taking photos? Is that a thing for you?
It comes in phases. If I can turn my head and kind of have an eye for one thing and then literally turn in the other direction and have a whole nother like focus. Just because I have a lot of, I have the eye, and photographers know, you have that eye and you're like, no matter what direction I'm looking at, I'm seeing something. It's just how much do I have on me to shoot? Like how much, what am I able to contain and capture? But lately I've been really drawn to fabric, like rugs. Because people really don't notice how much detail are in rugs. We look at it from, from underneath us, but if you look at it at an eye's level, it kind of turns into its own art piece. It becomes a little abstract, even though it's part of this wonderful woven or, sewn thing. When you get closer to these things, they become something totally different. They become a different structure. Another thing I've been drawn to is hair, which is really interesting when you get really close on that. And I took a photo of a sink in the dentist office, and and that turned out to be probably the chef's kiss. It was the chef's kiss immediately. As soon as they stepped out the room, I was like, you know what? So, give me a sec. They're like,
While
over
you're
here.
waiting for him to come back.
Yeah, I'm out here just doing my thing. And they're like, oh, Mr. Nicholas. I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm coming. Don't mind me. I'm just in between.
I love it. That's awesome. Inspiration everywhere.
Everywhere.
I love it.
I honestly, truly love this with heart, mind, and soul.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you now have an LLC? Are you established as, have you established that as your business? Or are you still not so much? Or where's that for you?
I'm still navigating how to solidify the business portion of it, just because there are so many outlets of creativity that I am productive in that could be used in my finances. So I'm having a little trouble on defining what that LLC or entity would be, but I definitely have plans of becoming something very established and very successful when I figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can be kind of like, it's a whole new world to dig into the business part. And I'm with you on that. Like, I have multiple things that I do, just not even intentionally. And then, so it's like, how do you fit it all under one umbrella? But
absolutely.
So I've started to sort that out. So we can always chat about that if you like.
Yeah,
but
I need the Allison notes.
See if I can help at all. But I'm still figuring it out too. So you said, or maybe you said, or I read, did I read that you have had or currently have some of your photography in an art gallery or multiple? Is that right?
Yes. In the currently all of these shows have concluded, but at one point in DFW I was showing in 3 different spaces at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, like
awesome.
I had a whole triangle across the Metroplex. West, actually North Dallas. At the time, I was showing in Grapevine, which is kind of central Texas. And I believe I had another showing in Fort Worth, which is kind of still central but south. So it formed a huge triangle for all my friends and family that were able to view my work. And it felt so cool to just be like, oh, that's going on. Oh, yeah, that's going on too. Oh, yeah, if you want to go there, I'm over there too.
Amazing.
And then I had an opportunity to display art in Rome. And yeah, that was like, we made it. Like, I'm that guy. That's when I realized, like, I'm that guy. I know that dude, but now I'm that guy. So when that happened, it was like everything opened up. I've always wanted to study abroad. Just, passports and stays and currency exchanges and all those things got in the way. But to have my art piece there before I arrived there was like, I can do this. I can do this. Big.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's amazing. Was that recent? When did that happen?
That happened in November of 2022.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yes. This year has been a little less photography, a lot more painting, but 2022 in November, I got an invitation and I was one out of 1,349 people that were selected.
Wow.
Yeah. So
amazing.
That was, and I think the submission was maybe in the tens, maybe 10,000 people, 5,000 people applied. Yeah. So, and for me to just get in that top slot was like, man, can't tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me anything. I'm that guy.
That's amazing. And that was for a photography piece. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, so you also do painting. What other art do you do? And I saw that you model.
Oh, yes. I model painting, photography, and music.
Oh, you're a musician as well. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. What do you do musically?
Experimental. That's the genre I give people. But mostly it's because I'm not classically trained, but I definitely have an ear for sound as well. So I have the eye and ear as well. So it's kind of like, if I can't capture it or I can't portray it, I can create it with sound. So mainly I play with my bass guitar, my electric guitar, and my keyboard.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And as a little therapy, from time to time, I go to Guitar Center and I just kind of play their synthesizers for free. They're like $2,000. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here for a couple moments, play it, and then I'm going to go. Because this is crazy.
I know. It's insane how much some of the instruments can cost. It's crazy. So it's
Man.
nice that you can go to the little instrument museum
Absolutely.
of Guitar Center.
Literally.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw some of your paintings on the link that your website, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's amazing. Did you get into painting around the same time as photography, or were you doing that before or after? How'd that come about for you?
I got into painting around the time I had artwork displaying overseas. I felt a little detached that I couldn't be there to see the piece, and I was kind of longing for something from me, not something that I could capture on the world and show the rest of the world. I wanted something I could bring into this world from myself and kind of hold on to. And I began painting in my room on the much larger canvases, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but it felt so free because there wasn't a grade, there wasn't a punishment, but there was always an outlet because I had so much paint supplies given to me through a friend of mine. And it was like, well, I can just keep it in storage or I can use it. So, and then I started to continue and I ended up getting gallery represented and which was a whole nother thing. But yeah, around the time my photography was going crazy, I ended up trying my hand at painting, and that was its own bliss, its own rainbow.
Oh, that's amazing. So much energy from artwork, and yeah,
Absolutely. It's
wonderful.
really the light in life for me.
I think I saw you have been hired, did you say by musicians for
Yes.
certain works and things? Can you explain that a
Yes.
little bit?
So I make a lot of networking opportunities out of myself. I like to put myself in spaces where there are people that could use my talent and talent that could use me. So I reached out to a friend of mine named August Truly. He has an upcoming album soon, and it's wonderful. He previewed it for me as I was shooting him, and I'll send you the link, Allison. It's a good listen. It's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
A few of my friends in a different genre, which is hip hop, they come to me and they're like, "Hey, Nick, are you available? Things." Other artists as well, other painters, other musicians, other photographers. I also work with. So, and that's kind of again puts me right back in that college setting where I'm like, we're speaking the same language. You might not get what I'm doing, but just do your thing, and I'm gonna do my thing.
Collaborate and help each other out and
Exactly.
support each other with your talents and skills. That's the
Exactly.
best. Yeah.
Again, that's all we really have until, we can get to a stage where people are coming to us for these opportunities. And I think that's another reason why I love it so much. Because in college, I was able to contact a friend about something I had a question over. We can collaborate on the information together and we develop understanding. And now I'm at a space where in my profession, if I go to someone that's just as cold in their regard as I am in mine, now I'm taking something from them, they're taking something from me. And that's necessarily if we can't afford each other's, time or craft, we can barter, I do this for you, this for me, and then we all walk away happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best. It's
Absolutely.
Really... So have you helped musicians kind of develop the graphic? Do you do any graphic design stuff, or is it more like photography for promo things or that kind of thing?
I don't have experience with graphic design,
Yeah.
but usually when I'm reached out to, it's for like somebody wants either a documentary style photo for their cover. They kind of want something real, but they want to be the one to kind of depict what this feeling is for their sound. So I'm kind of, as I'm talking about it, I'm kind of realizing how, like, what my kind of niche is, because it's cool to have people come to you and they're like, hey, I got a body of work and this is the feeling and this is the sound. I'm going to let you listen to it. And I need you to capture me and capture this album in a sense, capture the visual portion of the album. And that's been something I just realized now. Like that's really awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of ties into what my next question was going to be, which is what's been one or two of your more favorite projects that you've worked on recently. And so maybe that's one of them, but I don't know.
I think so. I think shooting August's album, it was one of those shoots where I'm aware of my job, but I'm so engaged with what's happening around me. You know, we were traveling through a hiking grounds, and I was kind of shooting this. I was shooting for something environmental, something open ended, something that felt not isolating, but very removed from all the noise and bustle and hustle of, of our time. And it was a black and white shoot, which is one of my niches. And the photos came out outstanding. And to see him post that and tag me and just kind of be like, this is a body of work that's coming for you guys, musically, but these are visuals by my guy Nick. And it was like, once again, like I don't miss. I felt like I didn't miss. I feel like there's nothing I can't capture for people, of people, flawless. Another pleasant, inspiring photo shoot I've done recently was for Deja Board Gallery. And it's a very popular gallery down here in Texas. And she commissioned me to shoot one of the openings for her artist at the time, which I didn't know ended up going to the same university I did. So
nice.
To shoot my peer in this gallery space while we're at the same university was like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, I think I'm destined to be a photographer. Like, this is a crazy experience, and it was
That's
amazing.
Awesome.
I brought one roll of color film and a roll of black and white, and to see that post go up, that's literally the service. When you get, that's like the gold medal of honor when people post your stuff and tag you, and it's like, wow, like you want people to see what I've done for you. Like, it was amazing.
That's awesome. That's good to know too. If anybody's working with photographers, that's the tipping point. That's great.
Absolutely. That's the treat. That's the treat and the pat on the head.
There you go.
That's the treat. Just that's all we need. Just tag us and share it, and we'll be happy.
Love it. You said that you bring film. So do you work mostly with film, or do you do some digital as well, or what's your favorite?
My favorite is film, but I definitely am active with the digital camera as well. I am, I'm one of those photographers where if it has camera functions, I'm doing my thing,
Yeah.
I'm going to town. But
That's
I
awesome.
primarily work with film photography.
Okay. So you have your own, I don't know much about it. So do you have your own dark room and things like that? Or do you take the film somewhere to get developed, or how does that work?
I take the film to a photo lab.
Okay.
But college gave me my first experience in the darkroom.
Yeah.
So I made my first print last summer, and
nice.
that was just, you love something and then you find out there's ways to love it even further when you get educated about the thing. So being in that dark room and all those chemicals and all that timing, and to result it in a actual print that you can frame and show people, and it was just an abundance of appreciation for what I already had loved.
That's awesome. That sounds like a fun process too. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like when a foodie becomes a chef. Like, I love this thing so much. I love consuming it. I love contributing to it. But if I'm able to form it and then share it, now you got a whole reality show about how you love to cook.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. Let's see. Oh man, see, I'm picturing the dark room and everything, and then my questions get lost. See, this is why I edit, because I'm
such a visual guy. I'm such a visual person. Everything's imaginative.
Yes, me too. That's why I picture things in my head to be able to connect with it and everything, and then I get lost in my head. That's wonderful, though. What is something that you are? Oh, that was my question. Wait, going back. I saw that in your bio that you modeled for something with Vogue. Is that correct?
Very true. Very true. I ended up being featured in Photo Vogue, which is the Vogue's approved kind of, I don't like the word amateur, but professional kind of
up and coming.
Exactly. Emerging. I like that word. Emerging artist models. And nice. A buddy of mine, it's crazy. We went to Buc-ee's, which is popular gas station down here. It's massive. It's its own, like, it's like Walmart with fuel pumps.
Oh,
It's crazy. Like, it's massive. You got to come check it out when you got
I
time.
think so.
So I told my buddy, I was like, hey man, if we go behind this gas station, we're gonna get in the Vogue. And if we go behind this gas station and I help you set up the backdrop and I help you set, the scene, and we go and I'm gonna model behind this gas station and we're gonna get in the Vogue. And he's like, I'm nervous, man. I don't really know. I said, just trust me. That happened on a Thursday. By Monday, we were approved.
What? Really?
And
Amazing.
I told him, I was like, dude, just trust me. Take my word. I know I don't miss. If you got a camera in my hand, I'm not going to miss. If you put it on you and I'm on camera, I'm not going to miss. So
that's awesome. Wow.
I'm not going to lie, Allison, being in Vogue raised my confidence as a young man just tremendously. I was 22 at the time, 23 at the time. And, I haven't necessarily been praised for how I look, but to kind of be like, to get that Medal of Honor again, to be chaired by Vogue, to be recognized by Vogue was like, oh yeah.
That's a bit of a boost. Sure.
It's a big, it's a big ribbon to wear. And it's something I'm going to tell my children. I'm definitely going to tell my kids, your dad was in Vogue. So
totally.
hotdad.com.
Yeah, there you go. Love it. What's a project or something on the horizon that you're super excited about?
My first solo exhibition, Allison.
Oh.
I'm going to invite you. I'm going to give you the address because when that happens,
yes.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be an experience.
Yes.
So just to tell you a little bit about it,
mm-hmm.
I've been working on kind of saying like the textural things, but there's something I don't think we are close enough to, but it's inside of all of us. Water. So the title of the show is called Aqua. And my idea for the space is it's going to be a mixture of light and sound and photography. I've been paying attention and making my rounds around artistic spaces, and I'm noticing that art and sound has a disconnect from the viewer because it's usually surface and image kind of thing, or sound, which is environmental, but it's, abstract. So I was interested in displaying very large photos of what's captured and including an installation of water because, if people want to touch it, from maybe a fountain or something like that. And the sound will be, live recordings of water as well. But the main thing that's really going to tie it all together are the prints. And that's where I'm so thrilled to be able to show those because that's really going to bring the whole room together. Seeing running water and hearing it in your ears is not too interesting, but I have an idea for how I kind of want the fountain and sound to relate to these massive, massive pieces that I plan on exhibiting.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. That sounds like a very immersive, interesting, amazing experience.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I haven't seen many photographers do anything like this. A lot of photography is photo and surface, and nothing wrong with that. That's a standard framed, thing. But we can take it a step further. We can make it real cool. So that's the plan. That's the plan.
Awesome. And so right now, is it in the incubator stage, or what stage of planning are you in with this project?
Right now, I'm in the stage of scouting for locations.
Okay, nice.
I want a space that's safe for people to be there, but I also want a space that can contain a lot of people because the prints are going to be very large. So I kind of want there to be, even though the photos are going to be closely taken, I want people to kind of have enough space to view it and not have people in the way. Also have enough clearance for the water that's going to be involved, and then as well as the audio capabilities I want as well. So there's like 3 main things on the bulletin that I need for a space. And once that's rolling, then we can start, going into the budget. And then you get an invite in your email.
Yes. I'll be looking out for that for sure.
Yes.
That's exciting. That's wonderful. I love that there's this vision guiding your next steps and it's very clear. I like that.
Absolutely. Can I tell you what it's inspired by?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I was a freelancer for JCPenney's as a production assistant.
Mm.
And all day, I pretty much fetch equipment, photo equipment, lighting equipment, all those kind of things. I got a whole van. I kind of unloaded and offloaded. I was having a great time. I love that job.
That's awesome.
And one day we were packing up and I saw a bottle of water sitting there, labelless. Like couldn't tell what brand it was. It was just sitting there. And I thought to myself, the lid on this is still intact. This is water that's sitting here, is safe to drink. And I don't even know what this is. Even though I have nothing to identify or associate the brand affiliated with this thing, it's still nourishing. I could pick it up and open it right now. And then I thought, there are so many countries in this world that don't have a clean bottle of water laying out in the open. And I thought, like, maybe there's another way to look at this bottle of water besides just something to quench thirst. Maybe it's something that should be appreciated and valued. Maybe it's something I should take a closer look at. And then that became sort of like an idolization where I've kind of wanted to turn this empty, well, full, but, blank bottle of water into almost like a sculpture to kind of give it importance, because it was left out because somebody either forgot about it or they just weren't thirsty at the time. But for someone that hasn't had that opportunity or that blessing, an opportunity to have some clean, fresh, refreshing water, to be presented in a way where it is important and it's not just left on a production set. I think that's kind of what motivated me to go, I want to take water and give it a focus that we're not really paying attention to in a way.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
It
seems like you have a great, like you said, you have a great eye, but like for the things that, as you said, people take for granted that are just
Absolutely.
there. And then you see the deeper meaning within something, which is a very unique gift, which is wonderful and important for an artist. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm excited to see how that project unfolds for you. That's very exciting. Yeah.
I'm very excited. I don't tell many people about it just because, I do want to keep it respectable. I know there's a lot of ideas and great brainstorming spaces, but for this the first solo show, I really want to get it right. And I really want to make you guys proud and pay respects to H2O.
Yeah. There are certain projects when it's a creative thing that comes from within that it's a little bit sacred and you have to kind of protect it until it's ready to get out into the world. I totally understand that.
Absolutely. Like you said, incubation.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing what you did share. I'm excited. Did we miss anything? Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about before we wrap up today?
I would like to explain the importance of the combination of all these things I'm doing creatively.
Yeah, definitely.
As an artist, we're really focused on what we're contributing currently, which is, great. There's always a space for something contemporary, but a lot of artists are way more potent than what they reveal. And one day, very soon, I pray and hope that I'm able to use everything that I'm capable of and use that at the same time. My master plan is to invite you, Allison, and all my loved ones and friends to come and view a performance from me through music, sound, painting, photography, film, all of these things, as well as a short film as well, because that's coming too. You're getting an invite to that too. So that's already shot. So that's what's on there. So there's so many things I've spread out and made valuable. And one day I hope that I'm able to bring those all together and just show people like he's really from a different era. He's a different dude. And that's all.
Just sharing you. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Where's the best spot for people to find you? I know you're on Instagram at Nicholas.gully and nicholas.gully. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Where are some other good spaces that you'd like people to find you?
You can find me on SoundCloud as well. My username is Nicholas. Look for a very handsome guy with long hair. You'll find me. And Instagram, that's probably the best way. I'm very active on there. I'm always networking and always very pleased when I wake up and I see one person liked one thing, and it makes my whole day.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, we will be sure to share all of that in show notes and on our socials and everything. And I'm happy to be connected with you. I'm glad you reached out. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your ideas and your inspirations with me today. It was very nice to connect with you. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate this tremendously, Allison. You don't know what this is doing for my future and my present and my past self. I'm so grateful to be able to spend this time with you and just meet and speak and share with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very happy to do it. Thank you for joining us for Take Notice, Amplifying Black Stories. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with someone you know. Connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you. We are at Take Notice Podcast. You can also find us at takenoticepodcast.org. Reviews help us reach more listeners, so please rate and review on your favorite podcast app. Take Notice, Amplifying Black Stories is produced, hosted, and edited by Allison Preisinger-Heggins. Music by Version Big 5 featuring Darius Heggins. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for taking notice.